are many factors which can affect performance in running. Some of these factors include training, psychology, nutrition, and recovery strategies. Running requires these to a large degree due to the commitment and the devotion involved. And, just as a disclaimer, every run I did was around 4.7 kilometers. There were at least 2 hours without food. I stretched beforehand, I listened to music, and I was on the road unless otherwise stated. To improve my performance in running, I found it was very important to train beforehand. The type of training I used was flexibility training. I didn't use strength training as it hindered my performance. I didn't use aerobic training as running in itself is aerobic training. And I didn't use anaerobic training because it is useless in long distance running. To start with, before every run, I would try to improve my flexibility by stretching. The main types of stretches I used were static and dynamic. The static stretches I used were generally centered around my leg muscles, such as hamstrings, quads, and calves. Static stretches were useful because they helped to lengthen my muscles for longer strides and to be less sore. The dynamic stretches I used were butt kicks, high knees, and lunges. Dynamic stretches were good as they increased range of motion and allowed my body to be prepared for the run. To test whether stretching affected my performance, I ran twice with stretching and twice without stretching. When I stretched before, I managed to complete the run around 30 seconds faster. Stretching also helped ensure that I didn't feel sore the next day. A study conducted by Ian Schreer claims that regular stretching, not just right before a run, can improve performance in running. The principles of training I used were progressive overload, reversibility, variety, warm-up, and cool-down. To test progressive overload, I ran a 4.7 kilometer run, then a 5 kilometer, then another 4.7 to see if my pace improved. My average pace stayed very similar for both. This means I may have needed to test a few more times and with more of a difference between the distances. To ensure reversibility, I ran at least twice a week, but usually more. This made sure I didn't lose progress in cardiovascular endurance. To test reversibility, 1 week I only went for one run, and the next time I went, I felt sluggish and was around half a minute slower. For variety, I tested different surfaces to run on and different times of day to run at. It was harder to run on the treadmill as it was set at a constant speed with no opportunity to slow down. This was good though because it allowed me to run faster overall. Also, no inclines made it much easier. These are some of my results from running on the treadmill, showing faster speeds over more distance. Running on grass was a lot slower as my feet sank in and didn't have good traction. Compared to running on the path, I was faster on the treadmill and slower on the grass. For running in the morning, it was helpful because the temperature was cool, but I wasn't fully awake, which meant I wasn't able to focus as easy or put as much energy in. Running in the afternoon was tough because it was still a bit warm and there were people to avoid on the footpaths, but I had the most energy at this time. Nighttime was the best time to run because it was cooler, I had energy, less people were on the footpaths, and I was fully awake. My results show that I ran the best at night, with afternoon being second and morning being the worst to run. To warm up, I made sure to stretch before each run. This increased my blood flow and reduced my chances of injury. To cool down after the run, I walked for about 20 seconds to slow my heart rate. I also did a couple of stretches to reduce the chances of blood pooling and reduce the levels of blood lactate. The only physiological response to training I was able to test was resting heart rate. When I first started testing my running, my heart rate was 57. Now, after 2 months, my heart rate has lowered to 45. Before I started running altogether, before training for this assessment, my heart rate was in the 80s. To improve my performance, I aim to positively motivate myself. This is because it has a larger effect than negative motivation, and it made me feel happy if I ran well. And even if I ran badly, it helped me aim to improve the next time. I didn't use negative motivation because I wanted running to be a rewarding experience, not a punishing one. I only used intrinsic motivation as I had the desire to become fitter and faster. I didn't have extrinsic motivation because there was nothing to win. I didn't really get anxious or stressed while running. In fact, running reduced my levels of anxiety. My trait anxiety is normally quite low, as I'm not a worrisome person. But if I was worried about something like an assessment, my state anxiety would go up. Running helps to lower this state anxiety by relaxing me and making me feel calm. I also aim to stay at a level of optimum arousal while running. If I was over-aroused, I may sprint at the start and burn out, which isn't good. Or, if I was under-aroused, I may not run fast enough, which is also not good. One important psychological strategy was to be concentrated. If I wasn't concentrating on what I was doing, I may trip or get in the way of a car. To help relax before running, I would listen to music. This would help calm myself and get me prepared for the run. Then, during the run, I would listen to pump-up music to hype me up. Listening to music not only improved my performance, but it made running more enjoyable. A study which backs this up was performed by Edworthy and Waring in 2010. They found that people performed faster on a treadmill when listening to music rather than not listening to music. To enhance my motivation, I also found that goal setting was quite effective. This allowed me to have a target in mind to reach while running, which meant I could speed up where appropriate. I only managed to achieve my goal of 4.7 kilometers in less than 21 minutes once, but it did improve my performance and my motivation. Before running, I wouldn't eat anything for at least 2 hours beforehand. When I did eat at these times, it would normally be foods of high carbohydrates, such as noodles or pasta. I did try eating a bit closer to my runs to see what happened. When I ate just before running, my results were the worst, as my stomach was full and I could feel the food moving around. When I ate an hour before my run, a similar thing happened, although some food had been digested so I could run a bit faster. During performance, I didn't eat or drink anything, as there were only 20-minute runs. I aim to have food within an hour after every run. I also aim to have plenty of water after every run to replenish my lost fluids. These nutritional strategies were helpful as they stopped me from feeling fatigued or ill for the rest of the day. Also, on days where I ran further, I was more lenient with food to replace my extra energy lost. I didn't use any type of supplementation to help enhance my performance. I didn't use vitamins or minerals because I don't have any vitamin deficiencies. I didn't use protein supplements because I'm not protein deficient and I eat protein in foods like meat each day. It could have been helpful to consume protein though. The ISSN says that runners need around 0.2 to 0.8 more grams of protein each day, but I didn't increase my protein intake. I didn't use caffeine because I didn't need a high level of arousal to go for a run. And I didn't use creatine products because they are mainly only needed for sports with resistance training. After going on a run, it was very important to use recovery strategies to ensure I was not injured or affected in any way. An example of a recovery strategy I used was to walk for 100 meters right at the end of my run. This ensured my heart rate and arousal levels were lowered, and, as I mentioned earlier, I used static stretches to remove blood lactate and to minimize soreness. I also drank plenty of water to replenish fluids lost and to make sure I didn't get dehydrated. Neural strategies were also important, such as jumping in the pool. This helped me to cool down and to reduce muscle soreness. At night time, I would have a shower as it was too cold to go in the pool. This helped to increase my blood flow and reduce muscle spasms in my legs. Another neural strategy I used was a massage pillow. It helped to reduce tension in my muscles and to promote flexibility. Psychological strategies were also useful as they helped calm me down after a run and ensure I could recover quickly. An example of this was having a sleep on the couch after my run. This helped to reduce tension in my muscles. I also aimed to sleep for longer than usual so that my body could recover better. So, I hope this video has been very informative and that you've been able to learn something new about factors affecting performance. See you next time.